What's up everybody, my name's Allie and this is Treat Your Shelf, and today I'm going to be giving you some good spooky season recommendations. This is going to be a list of thrillers and horror books that I love personally and that I think that you will love this season too. I'm going to go through some classic spooky-ish books, and then I'll get into some of my favorite spooky books that I own, and then some books that I don't own but I've read and I really like them. So for the classic books, I have first off And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie. Everybody knows I'm a big Agatha Christie person. I love her writing style. It's very classic, very British, but this is arguably her best mystery. It is about 10 people go to an isolated island because they're all invited by this mysterious anonymous person, and they start dying one by one and nobody else is on the island with them, so one of them is the killer and you got to figure out which one. This is the classic whodunit murder, and she's just like the queen of whodunit murders. So my second one is Silence of the Lambs by Thomas Harris. This follows Hannibal the Cannibal, and it is basically about this girl, this FBI agent, and she needs Hannibal's advice to catch Buffalo Bill, which is another serial killer. So he helps her out with that. It's also super creepy. Hannibal's creepy. The movie is really creepy. Definitely highly recommend this book and movie. And then the next one I personally love is Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. This is obviously just a classic high school reading, required reading. I have this really just cute, fun copy of it that I got from Barnes & Noble, and this is, you know, your classic Frankenstein story. Don't think I need to go further. It's greatness for spooky season. And then the last one is In Cold Blood by Truman Capote. I love this book so much. It is a very classic murder story, one of the first murder stories. It is based on real events, and it is like a family murder. So 4 members of this family who live like in the middle of nowhere in Kansas all get murdered, and they're trying to figure out who did it, what even happened, discovering the bodies, crazy times. It's crazy. So yeah. And then the next book that I really love and I think is perfect for spooky season is The Death of Miss Westaway by Ruth Ware. Ruth Ware is a hit or miss for me sometimes. I did not like Turn of the Key. I liked The Lion Game pretty good, and I really liked this one. So this one is about this girl named Hal. She has received a mysterious letter that talks about how she has gotten an inheritance from her grandmother who has just passed, and she is like, this is not really my grandmother, but let me go anyway because ethics are not there, I guess. So she goes, and literally they leave her everything, and she's super surprised, and she's like wrestling with whether she should tell the truth or not, and then crazy things unfold, lots of twists and turns at the end. This is really good, just spooky season book if you want something that has a lot of twists and that you will most likely not guess, because I did not guess it at all. And the next one is kind of a more predictable thriller, but it is still creepy nonetheless. Then She Was Gone by Lisa Jewell. It is basically about this girl, or this lady. She finally finds love again, and she is really taken aback because her love interest's daughter looks exactly like her daughter who disappeared, but like it's not adding up because her daughter would be way older and mysterious disappearance and stuff. So she thinks that there is like the guy is involved somehow, but she doesn't know how. It was kind of predictable at the end. I did know what was happening before, but nevertheless, this is a pretty creepy book because there is a particular individual who is super creepy, has major issues, stuff like that. Next one I have is You by Caroline Kepnes. I do love the TV show more, but this is a very creepy thriller. It's about Joe Goldberg, classic stalker, boyfriend, weirdo. We love him though. He's cute. has major issues. That's all I'm gonna say about that. So this is really good read for fall spooky season, I feel like, because there's just a lot of craziness that happens in this story. And the next two that I think is absolutely perfect for spooky season is The Good Daughter by Karen Slaughter and Pretty Girls by Karen Slaughter. And I literally love Karen Slaughter so much, cannot get enough of her writing. The Good Daughter, in my opinion, is the best one that she's ever written. I love this book so much. And then Pretty Girls is a close second. This is basically about these sisters. They're actually both about sisters, but this is about sisters, and one of the sisters' husband is like stabbed brutally, but then they find out crazy things about the husband and how he was just involved in a lot of dark stuff. So they're trying to figure out what happened to the husband, if everything is true or not, craziness, a lot of heavy stuff in that one. And then this one is also heavy. It is about a sister duo as well, and when the sisters were younger, they witnessed their mom being brutally murdered, and it's just basically about that, what actually happened that night. Crazy things happened to both of the sisters. It is very, very good, like, legal crime as well, because they're both lawyers. Both end up being lawyers, and the dad is a lawyer as well. So, super good. I cannot get enough of this book. I will probably actually reread it soon, and that's crazy for me because I don't reread books most of the time, so. And then the next one I have is The Shadows by Alex North. I don't love Alex North's writing, but I loved The Shadows more than I loved The Whisper Man. A lot. There's a lot of there's some supernatural components that go on in this book. It's a little bit confusing, but it really did surprise me. It was unexpected. I didn't expect the ending or anything like that. So this is a pretty good spooky season read. If you're interested in a person who comes back to their hometown to kind of figure out what even happened in his childhood. So it's pretty spooky, not gonna lie, but it didn't scare me. I think it's a good recommendation though. Next one is I'll Be Gone in the Dark by Michelle McNamara. I literally love this book so much. It freaks me out a lot. It's about the Golden State Killer and basically just all of the events that took place in the 70s with him, and he was just totally crazy serial killer. And the really sad thing about this is Michelle actually died before she could end this book, and so there was a group of detectives that actually wrote the rest of it for her, which I thought was really cool. And it's just all of their accounts and the victims' accounts of the crazy things that the Golden State Killer did to all of them. Very brutal, lots of graphic details in here. Oh, I thought somebody was turning in my driveway. Anyways, this is really good, and also the Golden State Killer was actually just recently arrested, so we love that. We love advancements in DNA, so yeah. And I would definitely check out Crime Junkie's episode of the Golden State Killer. I think they have a couple actually, and they really go into depth with that along with the book, so definitely check out that podcast. And the next four that I have just written down because I don't have the copies is Night Shift by Stephen King. I love this book. It is a series of short stories, some of his first short stories that he ever wrote, and they're super creepy. I read it at night in Florida and I was really creeped out. Read it in the dark if you will, but just saying, you're gonna get creeped out. But it's a very good spooky recommendation. I don't really have any other Stephen King recommendations for spooky season. I think I'm going to read Misery this spooky season, but I definitely need to get to the spookier books from him because I've only read Carrie, Salem's Lot, On Writing, which is a nonfiction book, and then Night Shift by him, and Elevation, which I did not like, but you'll hear about that in my wrap up. And so I need to get into Pet Sematary and It and The Shining and stuff like that, but I just haven't gotten around to getting those copies. So I'll definitely be reading Misery soon though, because it's in my TBR. We'll see. The next one is Home Before Dark by Riley Sager. You'll hear about this in my wrap up as well, but it was great. It was a 5-star book for me. The first 5-star Riley Sager book that I have read. Super creepy. It's basically about how this guy wrote this book about the House of Horrors, which is the house that they lived in for like a week or two or something like that. And he dies and leaves the house to his daughter, and the daughter is trying to figure out, like, was it real? Like, was his story real? Was his story fake? It talks about a lot of supernatural happenings and stuff, and it's very unexpected, lots of surprises, and I really liked the pace of it more than any of the other Riley Sager books that I have read, but really loved that, and it's perfect for spooky season. And then the next one that's also perfect for spooky season is Bird Box by Josh Malerman. I actually also read Mallory recently, which is the second one to Bird Box, but I loved Bird Box better than Mallory. It is basically, if you haven't watched the movie or know the premise, it is about how everyone has to wear blindfolds because if they look outside, they will see a creature, and then that creature will lead the person to kill themselves. And so it is pretty heavy craziness. I'm just going to do a little tiny spoiler that Gary freaks me out so bad. I literally had nightmares about him. So this is a perfect book for spooky season. Way better than the movie in my opinion as well. If you want to chance watching the movie before reading the book, go right ahead, but you will love the book better, I guarantee you. And the very last one that I have is The Woman in the Window by AJ Finn. I really loved this book. I feel like it's very controversial because a lot of people don't really like it, but I thought it was good. I like unreliable narrators, so like if I can trust them or not. The premise of this book is basically this girl is agoraphobic, so she lives in her house, does not go outside of her house, addicted to painkillers, likes to drink alcohol, whatnot. That makes her very unreliable, especially since you're not supposed to be drinking with the pills that she's taking. And she claims to see her neighbor, who she just met, be murdered by someone else in the family. So she's like calling up the police, freaking out, stuff like that, and then nobody believes her because everybody thinks she's unreliable, which they kind of have a reason to, because painkillers and alcohol do not mix, boys and girls. It's crazy, very surprising. I really liked the pace of it, and at the end it was really creepy to me. I don't know if I was just reading it in a creepy time of my life or something like that, but I really did like it. Those are all the recommendations that I have for you for spooky season. Comment down below what I should read for spooky season. I have a very long list, more than the TBR video that I just posted, but I will definitely check out all of your comments if you leave one below, and then also comment below what you want to read from my stack of spooky season recommendations, or if you liked any of these, if you have read them already, and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys!